Ever feel like you're just going through the motions? Playing by rules you never agreed to? I used to do the same. I was always worried about fitting in. Pleasing others. Playing nice. But then I realized something shocking. Most of the social habits we're taught are designed to keep us stuck. Not to help us thrive. So, if you're ready to stop going through the motions and start doing what you want to do, let's get started. If you want to live life on your own terms, you need to eliminate these toxic social habits. This won't be comfortable. It won't be popular. It'll set you free. The first habit to eliminate is people pleasing. People pleasing is so ingrained in us that we often mistake it for kindness. It's not. It's like self-sabotage wrapped in politeness that I used to say yes to every request. Smile through every inconvenience. Put myself through emotional distress just to keep others happy. I thought I was being generous. In reality, I was prioritizing other people's needs over my own. The turning point came when I realized that constantly catering to others was not only exhausting, also a waste of my time, that I was always saying yes to everyone, even when they didn't appreciate it. The funny thing is, the more I tried to please everyone, the less respect I got. It was as if by always saying yes, I was telling the world that my time, energy, even myself, I was always trying to please everyone. It only made people not respect me. It was like I was saying yes to everything. I was showing everyone that my time, energy, even myself were free for them to take that. So I decided to change things up. I started saying no without giving a long list of reasons why, and guess what? Nothing bad happened. In fact, the people who really cared about me respected my boundaries and liked my new attitude. Yes. A few people were shocked. Maybe even a little offended. Those reactions only showed who was really on my side. Here's the controversial part: pleasing others is selfish, not selfless. When you're always trying to keep everyone happy, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it to avoid discomfort, rejection, confrontation. It's about protecting yourself from feeling bad, not about genuinely helping others. Once I realized this, I stopped trying to be everyone's best friend and started being my own. So, if you're still trapped in the cycle of people pleasing, it's time to wake up. You're not a doormat. Your worth isn't tied to how much you can give to others. Break free from this habit. The people who matter will stay, while those who don't will quietly fade away. Trust me, life gets a whole lot lighter when you're not carrying everyone else's expectations on your back. Habit number 2, holding grudges. Holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal, hoping the person who wronged you will feel the heat. That I used to be an expert at it. Holding on to every hurtful word and betrayal. Convinced that my resentment was a form of justice. That I thought that by holding on to my anger, I was protecting myself from further pain. But the truth is, holding a grudge does more harm to you than to anyone else. I decided to stop giving in to people and to say no more often. I started saying no when I wanted to, without making a long list of excuses. And guess what? The world didn't end. The people who truly cared about me respected my boundaries and admired my newfound confidence. Yes. A few people were shocked. Maybe even a little offended. Those reactions only revealed who was really in my corner. Here's a tip: don't poison your own heart and expect the other person to suffer. There was a time when someone I trusted deeply betrayed me. I held on to that anger for years, replaying the scenario in my head, imagining different outcomes where I got the last word, the final say. I thought that by nurturing that grudge, I was somehow maintaining control, keeping the hurt at bay. Instead of feeling powerful, I felt heavy. Burdened. I had to make a decision. I could keep holding on to negative feelings and making excuses. I could move on. I decided to move on. I started saying no, without giving a long list of reasons why. Guess what? Nothing bad happened. The people who really cared about me respected my boundaries and admired my new confidence. Some people were shocked or even a little offended. That only showed who was really on my side. Here's the thing. Holding a grudge doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. Here's the truth. Holding a grudge is like being in a stormy sea. You think it's keeping you steady. It's actually pulling you under. You're drowning in bitterness and pain. The longer you hold on, the deeper you sink. Then you realize that the only way to save yourself is to let go. Letting go. This isn't about forgetting or condoning what happened. It's about choosing your peace over your pain. I eventually realized that forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about reclaiming your own freedom. It's about saying, I refuse to let this hurt define who I am or how I live my life. When I finally let go of that grudge, I felt an incredible sense of relief. As if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I had an epiphany. Holding a grudge doesn't protect you from future harm, it just keeps you chained to the past. Life is too short to be lived in chains. Especially ones we forge ourselves. Grudges are chains that bind us to our wounds. Preventing us from healing. Growing. Finding true happiness. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks those chains. It's an act of courage. Of self-love and wisdom. We can't change the past. We can shape our future. If you have a grudge, ask yourself, is this how you want to spend your energy? Is this how you want to define your life? Let go. Not because the other person deserves it. Because you deserve peace. Release the burden. Watch your life open up. You can move on from past wounds that affect your present and future. The most important message is this: forgiveness isn't about making the wrongs right. It's about making yourself whole again. Third habit: ignore the warning signs in your relationship. We've all been there. Stuck in a relationship where things just don't feel right. We convince ourselves to keep going. Maybe it's because we're afraid of being alone. We think things will get better over time. That I've been guilty of this too. Ignoring obvious problems because I didn't want to face the truth, but here's the hard truth: ignoring problems in a relationship is like driving with your eyes closed. You're bound to crash. The longer you ignore them, the worse it will get. The end result will be awful. That I once stayed in a relationship that I knew was toxic from the start. There were constant arguments. Disrespectful comments. A lack of trust. But instead of confronting the issues or walking away, I kept making excuses. That I told myself it was just a rough patch. That everyone has their flaws and maybe I'm overreacting. That I wanted so badly for it to work out that I ignored all the signs that it was doomed to fail. The truth is, red flags are there for a reason. They're warning signals that something is wrong. Whether it's a lack of respect, dishonesty, behaviors that make you feel uneasy. These signs shouldn't be dismissed. When you ignore red flags, you're choosing to compromise your own well-being. It's about self-care. Here's the controversial part: ignoring red flags is not about being too forgiving or too optimistic. It's about self-care. Betrayal. When you choose to ignore the warning signs, you're effectively telling yourself that your own needs, feelings, intuition don't matter as much as the other person's comfort or approval. This is a dangerous game to play. I learned the hard way that ignoring red flags can lead to self-betrayal. Don't ignore red flags. They'll only get worse over time. The longer you ignore them, the worse they'll get. They'll turn a small issue into a big problem that I end my case. The relationship eventually ended. I was left wondering why I didn't leave sooner. The signs were there. Ignoring red flags is not about being too forgiving or too optimistic. It's about self-care. You have the right to feel safe, valued, heard in a relationship. Here's the hard truth: ignoring red flags is not about being too forgiving or too optimistic. It's about self. When you start noticing those red flags, listen to them. They're your intuition's way of protecting you and guiding you towards something better. Walking away from a relationship that shows red flags isn't easy, especially if you're emotionally invested. But it's a necessary step towards self. Here's the controversial part: ignoring red flags is not about being too forgiving or too optimistic. It's about self-preservation and growth. It's about choosing yourself over the fear of being alone or the hope that things will improve. It's about recognizing that you deserve more than to settle for a relationship that doesn't honor who you are. So, if you're in a relationship where red flags are waving, don't ignore them. Don't make excuses or convince yourself that you can fix things on your own. Trust your gut and prioritize your well-being. It's about being true to yourself and having the courage to end a relationship if it's not good for you. In the end, the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. You deserve a partner who truly sees, respects, loves you. Habit number 4: don't stay silent on important issues. Many people think that staying silent is the easiest way to avoid conflict. Here's the hard truth: silence in the face of injustice, wrongdoing, moral dilemmas is not neutrality, it's complicity. I used to believe that keeping quiet was the right thing to do, especially when the stakes were high and the issues were divisive. I told myself that it wasn't my place to speak up, that my voice wouldn't make a difference. Over time, I realized that staying silent was more than just a personal failing, it was a betrayal of my values and a disservice to the world around me. There was a time when I witnessed something profoundly wrong in my workplace. A colleague was being mistreated, their contributions undermined, their dignity stripped away. I saw it happening day after day. I kept my head down, telling myself that it wasn't my fight. I didn't want to cause trouble or risk my own position. I stayed silent, thinking that someone else would step in. Here's the controversial part: ignoring red flags is not about being too forgiving or too optimistic. It's about self. That the situation would resolve itself. It didn't. My silence weighed on me, a constant reminder that I had chosen comfort over courage. Here's the controversial part: staying silent on important issues is not just a passive act. It's an active choice to let wrongs go unchallenged. When you stay silent, you're giving your tacit approval to the very things you know are wrong. You're allowing injustice to persist, not because you agree with it. You might be too afraid or too comfortable to speak out. This isn't just about your own integrity, it's about the bigger impact of your silence. When good people don't speak up, bad things happen. I realize that silence isn't a shield, it's a prison. It locks you in a place where you have to compromise your values. Stay quiet. Watch things you care about fall apart. The cost of staying silent is high. It erodes yourself. Not saying what you think can hurt your relationships and allow bad things to keep happening. I felt bad for a long time after the incident because I didn't do the right thing. I knew that other people thought badly of me because of it. This teaches us that it's important to speak up, even when it's hard. It's the right thing to do. It's about being honest with yourself and the things that are important to you. It's about knowing that your voice is important and that you can make a difference, even if it seems like your ideas are small. If you don't speak up, you might be safe for now. You're not doing the right thing. Conflict can be hard. It's also a chance to do the right thing and live according to your values. Remember, speaking up isn't about being mean or rude. It's about being honest, direct, brave, of wrongdoing. It's about finding the strength to say, this isn't right. Even when it's easier to stay quiet, yes. There may be risks. Backlash. Criticism. Even personal loss. Those risks are nothing compared to the harm caused by staying silent. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is that don't stay silent. Your voice is important. It can help make a difference. It can help make people more aware of injustice. It can help protect people who can't protect themselves. When you stay silent, you're not using your voice. You're not using your voice to help other people. It's important to speak up when you have an important issue. Your voice is a tool that can help make a difference. It can challenge injustice, inspire change, defend the vulnerable. When you stay silent, you're not using your power. When you speak up, you're advocating for others and showing your values. So, the next time you're tempted to stay silent, remember this: your voice matters. It can make a difference. Even if it's just in one person's life. Don't let fear or complacency stop you. Don't stay silent. The world needs more courageous voices. It needs people to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Staying silent on important issues doesn't protect you. It diminishes you. The cost of that silence is too high to pay. Habit number 5, seeking constant entertainment. In today's world, endless content is just a click away. Seeking constant entertainment has become almost second nature. We're bombarded with distractions, such as social media, TV shows, video games, more. All of these are designed to keep us hooked and coming back. I used to be caught up in this cycle, too. Every spare moment was filled with something: scrolling through my phone, binge watching the latest series, diving into the next viral trend. It felt good in the moment. Here's the uncomfortable truth: seeking constant entertainment is a subtle form of escapism. It's slowly eroding our ability to face reality. Think deeply. Live meaningful lives. I remember days where I would mindlessly drift from one form of entertainment to the next, barely noticing the hours slipping by. It was all too easy to get lost in them. There are always important issues that need our attention. Silence means you're not using your voice to make a positive change. When you speak up, you're advocating for others. There are always things that distract us. I thought I was just relaxing or unwinding. I was avoiding something more important: my thoughts, emotions, responsibilities. I thought that entertainment was filling a void. It was actually numbing myself to the realities of life. We turn to entertainment to avoid boredom, discomfort, our own thoughts. But by distracting ourselves, where silence is not good, it stops us from growing, thinking, really living. It gives us quick, shallow pleasures that don't satisfy us. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence without using your phone or TV? When was the last time you let yourself be bored and think about your thoughts? Many of us are afraid of being alone with our thoughts. We drown them out with entertainment. But we miss out on something really important by doing this. Silence is rarely good. Your voice is important. It can challenge injustice, inspire change, defend the vulnerable. When you stay silent, You're not using your voice. You're letting that power go to waste. But when you speak up, you're advocating for others. You're also taking time to truly know yourself. You're facing the things that make you uncomfortable. You're finding meaning beyond the distractions. I learned this lesson when I decided to take a break from all the noise. I went on a digital detox. I cut out social media, TV, all the usual distractions for a week. At first, it was incredibly difficult. I felt restless, bored, anxious. But as the days went on, something surprising happened. I started to reconnect with myself. I found time to think deeply about my goals, my relationships, my purpose. I started reading books I'd been putting off. Writing down my thoughts and enjoying quiet moments felt freeing. The first time in a long time. I wasn't trying to escape life, I was fully living it. The important message here is that constant entertainment isn't just harmless, it's something that can stop you from growing as a person. Journaling my thoughts and enjoying quiet moments felt freeing. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't running away from life, I was fully present in it. The important message here is that constant entertainment isn't just harmless. It's a barrier to personal growth, self-discovery, meaningful living. When we fill every moment with distractions, we're avoiding the things that could help us understand ourselves and the world around us better. We're missing out on the richness that comes from introspection, creativity, real-life experiences. There's nothing wrong with enjoying entertainment in moderation. But when it becomes a constant need, it's time to take a step back and ask ourselves what we're really avoiding. Is it the discomfort of being alone with our thoughts? Is it the fear of facing our challenges head-on? Is it the emptiness? If you are always looking for entertainment and challenges, try taking a break. Spend time in silence. Have meaningful conversations. Do hobbies that don't involve screens. It might be uncomfortable at first. It's in those moments that we grow. Life is better when we aren't always running from it. True happiness comes from living with intention and purpose, not from distractions. Stop filling every moment with noise and start living more intentionally. Embrace the silence. Stop needing constant entertainment. You'll discover a deeper, more fulfilling way of living. It's not about escaping reality, about fully embracing it. Habit number 6, oversharing personal details. In an age where social media invites us to share every aspect of our lives with the world, it's easy to overshare personal details. We've all seen it, a friend's long, emotional Facebook post or someone airing out their relationship drama on Instagram for everyone to see. I used to be guilty of this myself, believing sharing my struggles, opinions, personal moments with others, whether online or in person, was a way to connect with others, show my true self, build relationships. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sharing too much personal information doesn't bring us closer to others. It often pushes them away and can leave us vulnerable in ways we never anticipated. I remember when I first got involved with social media. I thought that sharing my life openly would make me more relatable and help others understand me better. I would post about my bad days, my frustrations at work, even the ups and downs of my relationships. At first, it felt great to be completely open and honest. But over time, I noticed something troubling. Instead of feeling more connected to others, I started to feel exposed and even judged. People I barely knew were weighing in on my life, offering unsolicited advice. Worse, using my vulnerabilities against me. Here's the controversial part. Oversharing personal details isn't about being authentic. It's about seeking validation and attention. Often at the expense of our own privacy and dignity. When we overshare, we look for sympathy, approval, reassurance from others instead of dealing with our emotions in a healthy, private way. We might tell ourselves that we're being brave or open. In reality, we're giving away pieces of ourselves to people who haven't earned that level of trust or intimacy. There's also the issue of how others perceive us when we overshare. While we might think that being open makes us more likable, it can have the opposite effect. Overexposure can make others uncomfortable, put them in awkward positions, lead them to question our judgment and boundaries. Also, it can attract the wrong kind of attention from people who might take advantage of our vulnerabilities rather than support us. In my case, I learned the hard way that not everyone who listens to your story has your best interests at heart. But the deeper issue with oversharing is what it does to our sense of self. When we habitually share our personal details with others, especially in public forums, we're outsourcing our emotional processing. Instead of taking the time to reflect on our experiences, to understand our feelings, to decide what's truly worth sharing, we're rushing to put. There are many people out there who are always looking for immediate praise or approval. This not only makes our experiences seem less valuable, it also stops us from developing the inner strength and resilience that come from dealing with our emotions in private. The main idea here is that privacy is a form of power. Sharing too much is a way of losing that power. It's important to understand that not every thought, feeling, experience needs to be shared with everyone. Some things are better kept secret or shared only with people who have earned our trust and are truly interested in our well-being. Being wise means not sharing everything. It means being selective about what we share and with whom. It means being honest and not being secretive. It means preserving our dignity, protecting our vulnerabilities, maintaining control over our own narrative. This doesn't mean you should never talk to others. Sharing is an important part of building good relationships. It's about finding a balance. Knowing when and where to share is important. Also, not every part of your life needs to be shown to everyone. The people who care about you will be happy to know the things about you that you choose to share. They don't need to know every detail. The people who don't care about you don't deserve to know the most personal parts of your life anyway. If you find yourself in the habit of oversharing, take a step back and ask yourself why you share so much. Do you want others to like you? Are you trying to fill an emotional void? Are you hoping that by sharing everything you'll find the connection or support you're missing? Once you understand the reasons behind your behavior, you can start to address them in healthier, more private ways. In the end, the key to making authentic connections isn't oversharing. It's being intentional about what you share and with whom. It's about recognizing that your personal details are valuable. Not everyone deserves access to your personal life. By setting boundaries around your personal life, you're not closing yourself off from others. You're ensuring that the relationships you do have are built on a foundation of mutual respect, trust, genuine understanding. This is far more valuable than the fleeting satisfaction of oversharing. Habits like people-pleasing, holding grudges, seeking constant entertainment are subtle chains that hold you back. The reason I say you should eliminate them quietly is because they will hold you back. True growth doesn't need an audience. Real transformation happens in the quiet. When you're not seeking others' validation or approval. When you quietly let go of what doesn't serve you. You build a stronger, more authentic life. It's not about making grand announcements. It's about living with integrity. free from others' expectations. So, eliminate these habits one by one. Quietly and confidently. Watch as your life becomes simpler. More meaningful. Deeply fulfilling.